My sister Loretta called me crying, saying she was desperate, that she and her daughter had nothing to eat, that the rent was past due, that she didn't know what to do. I believed her. I wired $4,000 right away. 3 days later, I stopped by her house unannounced. I saw an open envelope on the kitchen table. Cruise tickets. One for her, one for her husband, one for her daughter. None for me. Let me start from the beginning, because this story didn't begin that day. It started long before, back when I was still naive enough to believe that family was forever. Loretta was always the favorite. My mother made that clear from the time I was little. Loretta was pretty, outgoing, able to talk to anyone. I was quiet, studious, the one who sat in a corner reading while my sister sparkled at family gatherings. When we grew up, it only got worse. She married young, at 22, to a man named Merle who worked at a car dealership. They had Imogene soon after. My mother was overjoyed. Loretta had given her a granddaughter. I married later, at 30. I never had children. My marriage lasted 4 years and ended without drama, just mutual exhaustion. After that, I was alone. I worked hard, built my career as a financial analyst, bought my house, paid my bills. I never asked anyone for anything, but Loretta always asked, and I always gave. The first time was 6 years ago. She called saying she needed $1,500 to fix the car. I sent it the same day. She promised to pay me back the next month. She never did. Then came Imogene's dentist, $800. Then it was the girls' school trip, an extra fee, $300. Then Christmas, because she wanted to buy decent presents for the kids and couldn't afford it, $2,000. I always sent the money, because she was my sister, because I thought that's what family was for, because deep down, I still wanted to matter to someone. When the phone rang that Tuesday morning, I was finishing a report at the office. I saw her name on the screen and answered immediately. "Hi, Loretta." She was sobbing on the other end. She could barely speak at first, just that broken, desperate crying that made my chest tighten. "Loretta, what happened? Are you okay?" "No, I'm not." Her voice came out thin and trembling. "I don't know what to do. I don't have anyone else to ask for help." I stood up from my chair and closed the office door. "Tell me, what's going on?" "The rent's 2 months late. The landlord sent an eviction notice, and we don't have any food in the house. Nothing. Imogene keeps asking to eat, and I have nothing to give her." I felt a lump in my throat. "How did you end up like this?" "Merle lost his job 3 months ago. We tried to get by, but everything ran out. I tried to find work, but no one called me back. I don't know what to do anymore." She started crying again. The kind of crying that sounds like it's tearing someone apart. "How much do you need?" I asked. "I don't even know if I can ask. It's a lot." "Loretta, how much?" $4,000, $2,800 for back rent, and the rest for food and basic bills. I know it's too much, but I swear I'll pay you back this time, as soon as Merle finds a job. $4,000 wasn't a small amount, but I had it, and she was my sister, and Imogene was a child. "All right," I said. "I'll send it now." "Really?" Her voice changed completely. It became lighter, almost too relieved. "You're really going to do that?" "Yes, I'll send it right now. But you have to promise me one thing. Anything. That you'll use it only for that. For rent and food. Nothing else." "I promise. I really do. You have no idea how much this means to me. You just saved us." I hung up and made the transfer immediately. $4,000 left my account and went straight to hers. I stared at the confirmation on my phone and felt that warm rush in my chest, that sense that I had done the right thing, that I had helped someone who truly needed it. What a fool I was. 3 days later, I was coming back from the grocery store and decided to stop by her house. I hadn't told her, but I thought it would be nice to bring something for Imogene. I bought cookies, juice, some fruit. Nothing much. I just wanted to see if they were okay, if they were managing. I got there around 3 in the afternoon. Merle's car was in the driveway. I rang the bell. No one answered. I rang again. Nothing. I tried the door. It was unlocked. "Loretta, it's Darlene. Can I come in?" Silence. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The living room was empty. The TV was on, but no one was watching. I heard voices coming from the back of the house. Normal voices, not desperate at all. I walked toward the kitchen, and that's where I saw it. On the table, an open envelope. Thick paper, the kind travel agencies use. Cruise tickets. I picked one up. Loretta Hayes. 7 nights in the Caribbean, departing from Miami. I picked up another, Merle Hayes, then a third, Imogene Hayes. I looked for a fourth. There wasn't one. I just stood there, holding those tickets, trying to make sense of it, trying to piece it together. My sister had called me crying 3 days ago. She had said there was no food, that she was about to be evicted, that she was desperate. And now there were cruise tickets on her table, tickets that cost at least what I had just sent her. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Loretta was standing in the kitchen doorway, a towel wrapped around her hair. She looked at me, then at the tickets in my hand, and smiled. "Oh," she said, "you saw." I couldn't speak. I just stood there, trembling all over. "Loretta, what is this?" She shrugged, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "A cruise. We deserve a little vacation." "Vacation?" My voice came out louder than I expected. "You called me crying 3 days ago saying you had no food, that you were being evicted." "Yeah, and you sent the money." She crossed her arms, leaning against the doorframe. "Thanks, by the way. It really helped." My stomach twisted. "You lied." "I exaggerated," she said. "We were a little tight, that's all, but nothing we couldn't fix." "A little tight?" I threw the tickets onto the table. "You said your daughter was hungry." "She was. She's always hungry. Kids are like that." I looked at her, as if I were seeing a stranger. I didn't recognize anything in her face. Nothing in that cold, casual tone, as if she had just asked me to pass the salt. "You used the money I sent to buy cruise tickets." "I used part of it," she said. "The rest went to other things. But relax, the rent's paid. And what about my ticket? Where is it?" She laughed, a short, dry laugh. "Your ticket?" "Yes. If you used my money, I should be included." Loretta looked at me as if I had said something absurd. She shook her head slowly, still smiling. "Darlene," she said, in that voice she used when we were kids and she thought I didn't understand anything, "you've always been the bank, never the guest." I froze. Her words echoed inside my head like a slap. "What?" Loretta sighed, as if she were tired of having to explain something obvious. "It's exactly what it sounds like. You send the money, we use it. It's always been that way." "Always been that way?" I felt the anger rise in my throat. "I thought I was helping you. I thought you needed it." "I did, just not the way you imagined." She pulled out a chair and sat down, as if none of it really mattered. "Look, you have money. We don't. You live alone in a big house. We're barely getting by here. It makes sense for you to help. Helping is one thing. Being deceived is another. No one deceived you." She picked up one of the tickets and ran her finger over the paper. "You offered. I accepted. You cried on the phone. You said your daughter was hungry. And I didn't completely lie. We were short on cash. I just made it sound a little worse than it was." She lifted her eyes to me. "And honestly, Darlene, you always fall for it. You always believe. It's just so easy." I felt the ground disappear beneath me. "How many times have you done this?" "Done what?" "Lied. Made up an emergency. Used me." She thought for a second. "I don't know. 5? 6? I lost count." I wanted to scream, to flip that table, to do something that would make her understand what she was doing to me. But all I could do was stand there, trying to breathe. "Why?" My voice came out low, broken. "Why did you do this to me?" Loretta stood, walked past me and opened the fridge. She took out a bottle of water and drank slowly, as if we were talking about the weather. "Because I could," she said, closing the fridge. "And because you've always been too perfect. You always had everything. You were the one who studied, who graduated, who made money. I stayed here, married to a car salesman, renting a place, raising a kid. Do you think that's fair?" "Fair?" I almost laughed. Almost. None of that was my fault. I didn't say it was, but I'm not going to cry over taking a little of what you have to spare. "To spare?" I pointed at her. "I work 60 hours a week. I save every cent. I don't have anything to spare. I have what I've built, and I have a daughter to raise." She crossed her arms again. "So yes, I think you can help from time to time. You didn't ask for help. You lied. It's the same thing." "It's not." My voice echoed through the kitchen. Loretta didn't even blink. She just stood there, staring at me with that cold look I'd never seen before. Or maybe I always had, and just refused to admit it. "You know what's worse?" I said, feeling tears burn behind my eyes. "It's not the money. It's knowing you never cared about me, that I was only ever a bank account to you. Don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" I laughed, but it came out bitter and hollow. You just told me to my face that I was never good enough to be part of your life, only to pay for it. Loretta rolled her eyes. You're really going to make a scene over a few cruise tickets? Seriously? I thought you were more mature than that. Mature? I took a step toward her. You think I'm immature for being upset that I was used? I think you're overreacting. She glanced at the clock. And I need to finish packing. We're boarding tomorrow morning. You're not going on that cruise. She laughed, that mocking kind of laugh that made it clear she thought I had no power there. Oh, I'm not? No, because I'm canceling the transfer. Too late. It's already spent. Then you'll pay me back. Loretta tilted her head, studying me like a stubborn child. I won't. You will. I won't. She grabbed the phone from the counter. And if you keep this up, I'll block you. Seriously. I don't need this negative energy in my life. I was speechless. I looked at her, at the woman who shared my blood, who grew up in the same house, who should have been my best friend. And all I saw was a stranger. You really don't feel anything, I said. Not even a little guilt. Guilt for what? For accepting money you offered? For lying. For treating me like garbage. You're the one who thinks you're garbage, she said with a shrug. I just took what you gave. I wanted to stay, to fight, to make her admit she'd done something wrong. But looking into her eyes, I knew it would be useless. She didn't see anything wrong. To her, that's all I was. A walking ATM. I grabbed my purse, turned my back, and left that kitchen. I crossed the living room without looking behind me. I opened the front door and nearly ran into Merle, who was coming in with grocery bags. Oh, hey, Darlene. He smiled, cheerful as ever. How are you? Came by for a visit? I looked at him, at the fake smile, at the bags filled with expensive food, wine, imported cheese, things they'd bought with my money. You two are disgusting, I said. His smile vanished. What? You and her. Disgusting. I walked past him straight to my car. I got in, locked the doors, and only then let the tears fall. I cried there, alone, my hands gripping the steering wheel, feeling the weight of what I had just discovered. My sister had used me, for years, and she laughed in my face when I found out. I wiped my face, started the car, and drove away. As I headed home, one question kept circling in my mind. How did I let this happen? Have you ever been treated like you were invisible by your own family? I stayed up all night, sitting on the living room couch, the television on, though I wasn't watching a thing. My mind wouldn't stop. I kept replaying every call, every request, every time Loretta had come to me with some sad story, and I had always fallen for it. Always. I picked up my phone and went through our old messages. There were hundreds of conversations. I scrolled up, going back months, years, and the further I went, the clearer the pattern became. Darlene, could you help me with something? I'm in a tough spot. Think you could lend me a little? Sorry to bother you, but Merle's having trouble at work, and we're short this month. Always the same song. Always the same excuse. And always with that desperate tone, as if the world would collapse if I didn't come through. And I always did. I tossed the phone on the couch and stood up, walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, grabbed a bottle of water. I drank slowly, leaning against the counter, trying to gather my thoughts, trying to decide what to do, because something had to be done. I couldn't let it slide, not this time. The next morning, I called my lawyer, a man named Clement who had helped me during my divorce. I told him everything. He listened in silence, then sighed. Darlene, I understand your frustration, but legally, it's going to be hard to get that money back. Why? She lied. Yes, but you transferred the money voluntarily. There's no contract, no proof it was a loan. To the law, it was a gift. But she deceived me. I know, but proving that is another story. He paused. You could try suing for emotional fraud or something similar, but it would be expensive, slow, and the odds aren't in your favor. I hung up, frustrated. He was right, and I knew it. But it hurt to admit there was nothing I could do, that she would walk away unpunished. I spent the whole day trying to distract myself. Worked, answered emails, joined meetings. But my mind was elsewhere. With every passing minute, I felt angrier, more wounded, more determined to act. Late in the afternoon, I got a message from my mother. Loretta told me you two had a fight. What happened? Of course she had run to tell her side first. I called my mother. She picked up on the second ring. Darlene, What's this story Loretta told me? What story did she tell? I asked, already knowing. She said you went to her house, saw the cruise tickets, and lost your temper. That you were jealous because she was traveling and you weren't. I laughed. A dry, humorless laugh. That's what she said? Yes, and she's very upset. She said you were rude to her and to Merle. Mom, do you know how much money I sent her 3 days ago? I don't. Why? $4,000. Because she called me crying, saying she had no food, that she was being evicted, that she was desperate. Silence on the other end. Then, and? And she used the money to buy cruise tickets. Oh, my mother let out a little laugh. Well, she deserves a vacation. Her life isn't easy. My stomach turned. Are you serious? Darlene, she has a little girl, a husband who can't keep a job. You live alone, you earn well. It's only fair you help. Helping is not the same as being deceived. You're overreacting. Loretta didn't deceive you. She just didn't tell you everything. She lied, Mom. She said she was starving. She probably exaggerated, but she does struggle sometimes. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're taking her side. There are no sides. You've always been too sensitive. You take things too seriously. Too seriously? My voice rose. She used me. Darlene, you need to learn to forgive. She's your sister. Family is forever. No, family doesn't do this. My mother sighed as if I were being dramatic. You've always been proud, ever since you were little. You can't stand it when things don't go your way. This has nothing to do with pride. It does. You're jealous because she's traveling, and you're not. I'm not jealous. Then let it go. Loretta leaves tomorrow. Let her enjoy herself. She deserves it. I hung up without saying goodbye, threw my phone on the couch and screamed. Screamed alone, in my living room, fists clenched, eyes burning, because it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible that no one saw what had happened. That I was the crazy one in this story. That night, I made a decision. If no one was going to defend me, I would defend myself. I went to my computer and opened my bank history. I wrote down every transfer I had made to Loretta over the past 5 years. Every cent, every excuse she had given, every broken promise. It added up to $18,600. $18,600 I had given her, believing I was helping a sister in need. I saved everything in a file, printed it out, organized it by date. Then I called Clement again. I changed my mind, I said when he answered. I want to sue. Darlene, I already explained. I don't care. I want to sue for everything, fraud, manipulation, whatever we can. He was silent for a few seconds. Are you sure? This will be a war. I'm sure. Your whole family will turn against you. They already have. Another pause. Then, all right, I'll prepare the paperwork. But you need to understand something. Even if we don't win anything in court, the case will be public. It will expose everything. Your sister, your mother, the whole story. Are you ready for that? I looked at the printed pages in front of me, at all those numbers, all those lies. Yes, I said, I'm ready. In the days that followed, my life became hell. Loretta blocked me everywhere. My mother stopped answering my calls. I got messages from cousins, uncles, people I hadn't spoken to in years, calling me selfish, jealous, cruel. No one wanted to hear my side. No one cared. But I didn't back down. I signed the papers Clement prepared. He filed the lawsuit. Loretta was served the notice the moment she came back from the cruise. And that's when things truly began to spiral. The notice arrived at Loretta's house on a Thursday afternoon. I know because she called me 10 minutes later, screaming. She had unblocked my number just for that. You sued me? You actually sued me? I was at work, but I stepped out of the office and into the hallway. I did. Are you out of your mind? You're suing your own sister? You stole $18,000 from me. I didn't steal anything. You gave it to me, based on lies. She laughed, that sharp, hysterical laugh. No one's going to believe you. No one. You're going to humiliate yourself. We'll see. Mom already knows. And she's furious. Really furious. You just destroyed this family. I didn't destroy anything. You did when you decided to use me. Use you? She screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. You're insane, bitter and jealous because I have a family and you don't have anyone. Goodbye, Loretta. I hung up, blocked her number for good, went back to my desk and tried to focus, but my hands were shaking. 2 hours later, my mother showed up at my job. I was in a meeting with 3 colleagues when the receptionist called. "Darlene, there's a lady here asking to see you. She says it's urgent." "Who is it?" "Your mother." My stomach dropped. I excused myself and went downstairs. My mother was standing in the lobby, near the door, arms crossed, face closed. "We need to talk." "Not here." "Yes, here. Because you won't answer my calls." People were walking by, glancing at us. "Mom, I'm working, and I'm trying to save what's left of this family." She took a step toward me. "How could you do this to your sister? She lied to me." "She didn't lie to anyone. You gave her the money, based on lies. You're making a scene over money, as if that were more important than family. It's not about money. It's about respect." My mother shook her head, like I was a lost cause. "You've always been like this. Always had to be right. Always had to be the victim. I am the victim. You're a spoiled adult who can't accept that not everything in life is about you." She opened her purse and pulled out a wrinkled envelope. "Loretta's sick from all this stress. She had to see a doctor. Her blood pressure's through the roof, all because of you." "Because of me?" "You sued her. What did you think that would do?" I laughed, a tired, hollow sound. "And her using me for years didn't cause me stress?" "Stop being dramatic." "I'm not being dramatic. I'm defending myself. You're tearing this family apart." She stuffed the envelope back into her bag. "And you know what's worse? You're going to lose. You'll lose the case, lose the money on lawyers, and lose your family. All because you can't forgive." "Forgive?" I looked at her, at the woman who was supposed to protect me, stand by me. "You want me to forgive someone who laughed in my face after stealing from me?" "She didn't steal. She did. And you know it. You know it, and you're pretending not to." "Lower your voice." "I won't." I felt the tears rise again, but forced them back. "You both treated me like garbage, like a bank account. And when I finally stand up for myself, I'm the problem? You're the problem because you can't accept that her life is harder than yours. And that gives her the right to lie to me?" My mother sighed, exhausted. "I came here to ask you one thing. Drop the lawsuit. Apologize to your sister, and we'll forget this ever happened." "No, Darlene, no. I won't drop it, I won't apologize, and I won't forget." She looked at me with contempt, a look I had never seen before. Or maybe it had always been there, and I just never noticed. "Then you're no longer my daughter." The words were so cold, so certain, I almost thought I'd misheard. "What?" "You heard me. If you go through with this, you're no longer part of this family. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. You'll stop existing to me." I stood there in the middle of the lobby while people walked by on both sides, and the floor vanished under my feet again. "Are you serious?" "Completely." She adjusted her purse on her shoulder. "The choice is yours, family or pride." She turned and walked away, stepped through the revolving door, and disappeared onto the street. I stood there, trembling from head to toe. I went back to my office without speaking to anyone, locked the door, sat down, and let everything collapse. I cried like I hadn't cried in years. I cried for my sister, for my mother, for the family I thought I had and never truly did. When I finally pulled myself together, I called Clement. "Keep going," I said when he answered. "Don't drop anything. Move forward with everything." "Are you sure?" "Absolutely." In the days that followed, things got worse. I received anonymous messages full of insults. Someone created a fake social media account, spreading a twisted version of the story, painting me as the villain. Cousins I hadn't seen in years came out of nowhere to attack me. But there were surprises, too. A distant cousin, Opal, called me. "Darlene, I just wanted you to know I believe you. Loretta did the same thing to me years ago. Said she needed money for Imogene's emergency surgery. $2,000. 3 weeks later, I saw her celebrating Merle's birthday at a fancy restaurant." Why didn't you tell anyone?" "I did. No one believed me. They said I was jealous." I had similar conversations with others. Turns out, Loretta had done this to at least 4 more relatives. Always the same story, always the same tears, always the same ending. Clement gathered everything. Witnesses, bank records, messages. He built a solid case. It wasn't a guaranteed win, but it was something. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. Loretta hired a cheap lawyer who tried to discredit everything, said I was vindictive, emotionally unstable, trying to destroy a mother. The judge heard both sides and ruled that there was enough merit for the case to move forward. When I left the courthouse that day, I had a small victory in my hands. Small, but real. Loretta was waiting for me on the courthouse steps. Merle was with her. "You're going to regret this," she said as I passed her. I stopped, turned, looked her straight in the eye. "No, the one who'll regret this is you." The trial date was set for 6 weeks after the preliminary hearing. 6 weeks, that felt like 6 years. I barely slept. I barely ate. Every time the phone rang, my heart would pound. Clement prepared me for days. Endless meetings in his office, rehearsing questions and answers. What to say, what not to say. He brought in the witnesses one by one. Opal, 3 cousins who had been swindled, even a neighbor of Loretta's who had seen her return from the cruise with suitcases full of shopping bags. "Her lawyer will try to shake you," Clement warned me the night before. "He'll say you're bitter, lonely, that you made it all up because you're jealous of her life. You can't lose your temper." I won't. Good, because if you do, we lose the case. On the morning of the trial, I woke up at 5, took a shower, put on the suit Clement had told me to buy, dark gray, sober, nothing flashy, pulled my hair back, minimal makeup. He had said, "You need to look like a victim, not a villain." I arrived at the courthouse at 8. Clement was already there, going through papers at a table outside the courtroom. He saw me and waved. "Ready?" "No, but let's go anyway." We went inside. On the other side, Loretta sat with her lawyer, a short man in a brown suit named Horace. She wore a light blue dress, her hair loose, her expression the perfect mask of a wounded soul. Merle sat behind her, arms crossed, face hard. My mother was there too, sitting beside Merle, glaring at me. The judge entered, an older man with gray hair and a weary expression. He struck the gavel and began. Case of Darlene Morrison versus Loretta Hayes. The plaintiff alleges emotional and financial fraud. Let's proceed. Clement stood. His opening was clear and direct. He presented the bank statements, the messages, the transfers. He showed the pattern. $18,600 over 5 years. Always the same excuses. Always the same broken promises. Then came Horace's turn. He stood slowly, adjusted his suit, and started speaking in that syrupy voice I already knew would drive me mad. "Your Honor, what we have here is not a case of fraud. It's a case of misunderstood generosity. My client, Loretta Hayes, is a single mother. She's married," Clement interrupted. Horace paused, glanced at his notes. "Pardon me, married, but to a man often out of work, which makes the financial situation unstable. Her sister, Darlene, always helped willingly. There was never any demand, never any contract. They were gifts. Gifts built on lies," Clement replied. "Exaggerations, at worst." Horace smiled at the judge. "Families exaggerate. It's natural. My client may have embellished a few situations, but she never forced her sister to do anything." The witnesses began. Opal was first. She told her story, how Loretta had asked for money for her daughter's surgery, then had been seen dining at a restaurant. Horace countered. "My client is allowed to eat, isn't she?" The next cousin told a similar story, then another, and another. With each testimony, I saw Loretta's expression change. She started confident, then nervous, then furious. When it was my turn, I stood and walked to the witness stand, swore to tell the truth, sat down, looked at Clement. "Darlene," he began, "can you describe what happened on March 15th of this year?" I took a deep breath. "My sister called me crying. She said there was no food at home, that she was about to be evicted, that her daughter was hungry. I believed her and transferred $4,000. And what happened next? 3 days later, I went to her house unannounced. I saw cruise tickets on the table, tickets that cost exactly what I'd sent. When I asked about them, she laughed and said I'd always been the cashier, never the guest." There was a murmur in the courtroom. The judge struck the gavel. Silence. Horace stood to cross-examine me. He walked until he was standing right in front of me. "Miss Morrison, how many times did you offer money to your sister without her asking?" "None. She always asked." "But you always gave, didn't you? Because I believed she needed it, or because you wanted to feel important." He tilted his head. "You're single, aren't you? No children, no family of your own. Must be lonely." I felt anger rising. "That has nothing to do with this case." "Oh, but it does. Maybe you gave her money because you needed to feel needed, and now that she doesn't need you anymore, you want revenge. That's not true, isn't it? He held up a paper. Didn't you tell your lawyer, and I quote, I want her to pay for everything? I said I wanted justice. Are you truly seeking justice, or do you just want to see her punished? Justice. Then why sue your own sister? Why drag her name through public shame? Why destroy your family? I didn't destroy anything. My voice came out louder than I meant. She used me. She deceived me for years. Or maybe you're exaggerating because you can't stand that your sister has a happy life, and you don't. I stood up. That's not true. The judge struck the gavel. Miss Morrison, sit down. I sat, shaking. Clement gave me a warning look. I had lost my composure. Exactly what he had told me not to do. Horace smiled, satisfied, and went back to his table. Then it was Loretta's turn. She took the stand, swore, and sat with that helpless lamb look. Horace asked gentle questions. She answered in a trembling voice, saying she had always loved her sister, that she never meant to hurt anyone, that she was only trying to survive. And about the cruise tickets? Horace asked. They were a gift from my husband. He had saved up for months. He wanted to surprise me and our daughter. I didn't even know he'd bought them. A lie. A bald-faced lie. I knew it. Everyone knew it. But there she was, crying, playing the perfect victim. When Clement rose to cross-examine her, the whole room grew tense. Mrs. Hayes, how many times did you ask your sister for money in the last 5 years? I don't remember. A few. A few? He held up the statements. 23 times, 23 transfers, totaling $18,600. Loretta shrugged. She offered. Based on lies. Exaggerations. You said your daughter was hungry. She was. But you had just bought cruise tickets. That wasn't me. That was my husband. With what money? She hesitated. His money. He was unemployed. He was, but he'd saved. Saved from where? I don't know. I don't handle his money. Clement stepped closer. Mrs. Hayes, do you think it's right to lie to your sister? I didn't lie. You told her you were about to be evicted. I could have been, but you weren't, because she helped me. So you admit you used her money to avoid eviction and to buy cruise tickets? No, the money went to rent. The tickets were my husband's gift, your husband who was unemployed and broke. Loretta began to flush red. You're trying to confuse me. No, I just want the truth. I already told the truth. Then why did 4 other people say you did the same thing to them? They're lying. All of them? Yes, all of them. Because they're jealous of me. Her voice was hysterical now. She stood from the chair, pointing at Clement. You're all jealous. Because I have a family and you have nothing. The judge struck the gavel. Mrs. Hayes, sit down. But she didn't. She turned to me. You ruined everything, everything. You couldn't just let it go? You had to make a scene? Loretta, her lawyer tried to pull her back, but she kept going. I hate you. I always have. You were always the good one, the perfect one, the one everyone praised. And me? I was never enough. So yes, I used your money, and I'd do it again. The courtroom erupted. The judge struck the gavel over and over. Order. Order in the court. Loretta fell back into her chair, sobbing. Horace covered his face with his hands. Merle stood and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. And I just stood there, watching my sister fall apart in front of everyone. She had confessed. She had admitted everything. The judge called for a 15-minute recess. The courtroom emptied quickly. I stepped into the hallway and leaned against the wall, trying to process what had just happened. Loretta had confessed. In front of everyone. Clement appeared beside me, a faint smile on his face. Well, that made things a lot simpler. She confessed. She confessed, he repeated with a sigh. Her lawyer must be wishing for a hole to crawl into right now. We went back in when the judge returned. Loretta sat with her head down. Horace whispered something to her, but she didn't answer. She just sat there, motionless. The judge struck his gavel. Given the defendant's confession, I'm closing the hearings. I'll review all documents and issue the sentence in 10 days. It was quick, quicker than I expected. I stood with Clement, picked up my bag, and walked out. In the hallway, Loretta caught up to me. Darlene, wait. I stopped, turned around, looked at her. What do you want? She stared at the floor. I didn't mean to say that. I lost my head. You told the truth. I know. She lifted her eyes. They were red and swollen. But I don't hate you. Not really. It doesn't matter anymore. It does! She took a step toward me. You're my sister. No, I'm your bank account. Your words. I was angry. And so am I. The difference is, I have a reason. I turned away and started walking. She followed. Darlene, please. We can talk. I can pay you back. We can… No, we can't. I stopped and faced her. It's over. You had the chance to be honest, to treat me with respect, and you chose to laugh in my face. I know I was wrong. Knowing doesn't change anything. She started crying again. You're really going to make me pay for all of it? Yes. But I can't. We don't have the money. You'll leave me bankrupt. You should have thought about that before. I left the courthouse without looking back, got in my car, started the engine, and drove away. I didn't feel pity. I didn't feel guilt. Only a vast emptiness in my chest. 10 days later, the sentence came. The judge ordered Loretta to return $18,600 to me, plus interest and legal costs, in total $22,000. Loretta couldn't pay it all at once. The judge allowed installments, $400 a month for 5 years. Not ideal, but it was something. A restraining order was also issued. Loretta could no longer contact me. No calls, no messages, no visits. If she tried, she'd be arrested. When Clement called to tell me, I stayed silent for a while. Darlene, you there? I am. Just processing. You won. You won everything. I know. Then why don't you sound happy? Because it's not about happiness. I looked out the office window. It's about justice. And you got it. I did. 2 weeks later, I received the first payment, $400 deposited into my account. I looked at the statement and felt nothing. No relief, no satisfaction, just that same emptiness. My mother never spoke to me again. She blocked my number, deleted me from social media, acted as if I were dead. Some cousins took her side. Others stayed neutral. A few stood by me. I learned that family isn't blood. It's choice. Some people choose to use you. Others choose to stay when you need them most. Opal called me every week. How are you? Surviving. You did the right thing. I know, but it still hurts. It does. And it did hurt. It hurt to wake up knowing my sister had hated me all along. It hurt to know my mother chose her without even hearing my side. It hurt to realize I'd spent years believing a lie. But there was something freeing in it too. I didn't have to pretend anymore. I didn't have to fight to be accepted. I didn't have to carry the weight of a family that never valued me. I was free. Today, 3 years later, I look back and regret nothing. I could have let it go, swallowed the humiliation, and kept pretending everything was fine. But I didn't. And it was the best decision of my life. Loretta still makes her payments. Every month, $400 go into my account. I don't even check anymore. That money goes straight into a savings fund I plan to donate when it's all done. It was never about the money. It never was. My mother died last year. Heart attack. A cousin told me. I didn't go to the funeral. I wasn't invited. And even if I had been, I don't know if I would have gone. Because she made her choice, and I made mine. Now my life is different. Lighter. Fewer people around me, but real ones. Opal became my best friend. We talk almost every day. I started therapy, learned to set boundaries, learned that saying no doesn't make me a bad person. I learned that I deserve respect, that my worth isn't measured by how much I give others, that real family doesn't use, manipulate, or lie. If there's something I'd tell anyone going through something similar, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to cut off those who hurt you, even if they're your own blood. Because in the end, the only person who will truly protect you is yourself. And yes, it hurts. It hurts like hell. But the pain of breaking free is infinitely smaller than the pain of continuing to be used. It's worth fighting. It's worth standing your ground. It's worth choosing yourself. Have you ever had the courage to walk away from someone who hurt you?